Hello, and welcome to ES Repair. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. In this video, I am going to show you how you can speed up your version of Windows Vista. If you've watched my previous video that I did speeding up XP, some of the tricks that I'm going to show you is similar to XP. But since Vista has new features, we're going to have some more tricks up our sleeves to help you speed your Windows Vista up. First thing that I've did on XP is help show you how you can free yourself up on the memory. One of the key things that we did was to show you how to unload DLLs, or dynamic link libraries. The way the operating system works is anytime that you open a file, or more like a program, the program will always load system resources, including dynamic link libraries. But the problem is, when the program shuts off, the DLLs are still in the system memory. The reason for that is just in case that the program starts again, it doesn't have to reload the DLLs. Well, to ensure that that Windows unloads or removes the DLLs, we are going to go into the registry to force it to remove them. Now, before we go into the registry, be sure you back up your data, and I'm going to show you how to back up the registry. So just in case there's a mishap, we can always revert back to the original settings. Once you get your data backed up, we'll need to go down to Start, Run, type regedit, regedit, then click OK. Now in Windows Vista, it has a security feature. It does get kind of annoying because every time you start one of these programs up, this always pops up. This is to ensure that you're aware that there's a program that's affecting Windows Core, and make sure it's not some Trojan. So we'll go ahead and click Continue. Now, before we get started, we need to make a backup of this registry. That way, in case there's a mishap, we can always revert back to the old one. We need to click up on File, and then choose Export. Now, we need to make sure that it says All down here at the bottom for export range, because we want to do the entire registry. Change Save As Type to All Files, and make up a name that you will know that this is a registry backup. I'm going to use Registry Backup. You can do it like registry.backup. This way you know exactly what this file's for. When you get done, all you have to do next is choose Save. Now that the registry is backed up, now you have insurance, so if something goes wrong, we can go back. Now, before we start tinkering with this, you may want to review my Registry 101 page on my website at www.mrfixit.com /. upgrade / registry 101.html. This will bring you to a web page that specifically talks about the registry and the different parts of it as to what each part contains. First thing we're going to change is to force Windows to remove all dynamic link libraries when the program shuts off that called for them. To do that, we need to go to local machine. Now, to open these up, you can use a keyboard or your mouse. If you use your keyboard, you use your directional arrows. Right will open the Hive. Left will close it. Then, of course, up and down allows you to move between hives and keys. We need local machine. We need to go down to software, Microsoft, Windows, be sure you're getting onto the right keys or the right sub-menus or sub-keys. As you can see, there's a bunch of them on here. Now we're under Windows. Choose current version. And then go down to Explorer. As you look to the right, you should see always unload DLL. Now, not all computers will have this on there. If you don't see it, all you need to do is right click the back, choose New, and then scroll down to DWord. Now you see that a new name has been created. Change its name to Always, capital A, Unload, capital U, DLL with a capital D, as I have typed here. Now that the name has been created, it automatically gives you a 0. What we need to do is change that value to a 1. You need to double click the key under here where it says value data, change that to a 1, and then click OK. Now if you look to the right, the value was changed to a 1. Now take note, some of these values that we are changing will take effect immediately. Other changes that are being made to this registry will not take effect until a restart. Now we need to get back out and go to Explorers and close it off by pressing the left key until it collapses all the way back to local machine. Anytime that Windows shuts down for security reasons, it will automatically clear out the paging file. The paging file is a section on the hard drive that is used as virtual memory, which I will get into that later. The virtual memory is designed to help Windows transfer idle programs out of the system memory, which is faster, into the hard drive. But we'll get into that later as to how we're going to speed that process up too. But in the meantime, we need to keep Windows from paging itself. If Windows has to constantly page itself, it will make Windows become slower. We want to prevent that. We want Windows to stay in the memory core. To do that, we need to go to Local Machine, which is already highlighted, down to System, Current Control Set, Control. Now we need to go down to Session Manager, next we need to go down to Memory Management. As you look to the right, you'll see it says Disable Paging Executive. Most computers are set to this setting, to where Windows will page itself to the hard drive if necessary to allow other programs to run. But if Windows has to constantly page itself to the hard drive, it can slow it down. So what we need to do is change its value to a 1. You can check to the right, and if it's a 0, then Windows is allowed to page itself to the hard drive. If it's a 1, its feature has been disabled. Well, here we need to change this. To change this, we need to double click the key, and over here under Value Data, change this to 1, and then choose OK. Now, while we're under this, if you look to the one above it, it's called Clear Page File at Shutdown. Well, for security reasons, all versions of Windows clears the page file when it shuts down. Unless you really have security issues or security reasons to have the page file cleared every shutdown, then you need to have this set to 1. If you do not have any security reasons for Vista or XP to clear out the page file when it shuts down, then you need to change this to a 0. This will speed up when Vista or Windows XP shuts down. To change this, double click it and change the value. Now again, most of these changes that we're making here will take effect immediately, while other changes require a restart. We are going to do Prefetch. Now, Prefetch allows Windows to track most commonly used programs and files to be loaded into the memory cache for faster access instead of waiting for the hard drive, because memory is accessed a whole lot faster. The registry key, we have 2 options. Vista has a new feature called Superfetch. Superfetch is an upgrade from Prefetch. Its job pretty much keeps track of a program or files over time. Sort of creates a profile. And it gives a better educated guess as to which programs are going to be called upon, and it will load those into memory. Prefetch wasn't all that good. it was pretty much a 50-50 chance. Well, a Superfetch pretty much increased that to 75% or higher. To do this, we need to go to Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Control, Session Manager, Memory Management, and Prefetch Parameter. Now if you look to the right of the screen, you'll notice that there are two settings: Enable Prefetcher and Enable Superfetch. Now these two choices have, or two settings, have four options. 0 will disable it. 1 will launch prefetch application files only. A 2 will prefetch boot files. Or 3 will prefetch both applications and boot files. Now, Superfetch has one added feature that I will get to in a moment. It's called ReadyBoost. Now, to change one of these, you can double click it and you have a choice between 1, 2, or 3, as I describe as what these options will do. Now, you can choose or tinker with these settings to see which one will perform your computer the best. Once you make your selection, you can choose OK. Now, to get an idea as to what your computer is prefetching, go down to Start, choose Run, and then type /Windows/prefetch and then choose OK. And then choose Continue. Now, while you're looking in this folder, you'll notice these are all the files and programs that are being currently prefetched. I currently have this computer set to prefetch boot files. So, as you can see, if you have a lot of programs that are needing to start up when the computer boots up, then you may have more luck with number 2 as a setting for the prefetch and superfetch parameters. Now, you can erase everything inside this folder and try a different setting, restart the computer, and then take a look as to what's being prefetched. Now we can exit out of here and now we have our settings set up. Now I'll get to ReadyBoost in a moment. Now we can get out of this The next thing we're going to do is we are going to disable NTFS 8.3 name creations. The 8.3 name refers to the old 16-bit version file names. For example, the file name could be no more than 8 characters long, and the extension after the period could not be no more than 3. It's known as the 8.3 names. While NTFS, which is a new filing structure, allows for long file names, as you may have noticed. Well, for old 16-bit programs, NTFS has to keep track of all these 16-bit names. Then it has to convert the name in order for the program to understand it. If you have a lot of 16-bit programs, this can really slow down the NTFS. So it's recommended that if you do have a lot of these programs, to find a Windows version. If you don't have any, or you don't have no use for the 8.3 name creation, here's how you're going to disable it. We'll need to go into Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Control, File System, and then finally, if you look to the right, you'll see NTFS dot 3 name creation. If you look to the right, your computer will probably have a 0. If this is the case, you have an option to change this to a 1. All you do is double click the key, change its value to 1, and then choose OK. Now NTFS has disabled the 8.3 name creation. The next thing we're going to change is disabling the compression feature. If you have a very large hard drive in your computer, there's no real reason to have the drive compressed to increase storage capacity. This will hinder performance because of the constant compressing, decompressing, and compressing of a file or a data file. So to disable this, we'll need to double click this, change the value from 0 to 1, and then choose OK. Now the NTFS disabled compression. Now you have an option. You can disable encryption, but I'm going to leave that totally up to you. Encryption is used for encrypting the drive. For if you have multiple users on your computer, each user is encrypted on the hard drive, which prevents another user from accessing data that belong to another user. Now that would be totally up to you. If this the only computer is yours and you're the only one that uses it, then you necessarily don't need an encryption. But I'll leave that choice up to you. The next thing we're going to do is disable the last access update. Anytime that a file is accessed, whether it's read or written, the NTFS records a last access update. Now if you have a lot of files on there, this will hinder the performance. To disable it, double click it, change its value to 1, and then choose OK. Next, we need to check to see if Windows Vista is defragmenting its boot files. To do so, we need to go under Local Machine, Software, Microsoft, Windows, or defrag, my bad, boot optimize function, and if you look to the right, you'll see enabled. This needs to be a Y to turn it on. If yours has an N, double click enable and choose its value data to a Y, and then choose OK. This way, Vista will automatically defragment its boot files, putting them closer together. This will increase the speed up time, or speed up your Windows booting process. Next, we're going to engage ClearType. ClearType is a technology that allows for users who have flat screens or LCDs monitors, especially for ones that have high resolutions, such as 1440 by 900, big widescreens. Well, if you're using a CRT monitor, like a regular TV monitor, then do not engage the ClearType, because it makes it worse and can cause headaches. But if you're using LCD screen or a flat screen, then we need to turn on ClearType smoothing to when you log on, it's easier to see, because it's not normally turned on until after when you've logged on. So to do that, we need to go down to Users, Default, Control Panel, Desktop. Now if you look to the right, you'll see Font Smoothing Type. If you look to the right, you'll have either a 0, a 1, or a 2. 0 means that the ClearType is not turned on. 1 means that ClearType is turned on, but doesn't become available until after the user logs on. By putting a 2 here, this will create or force ClearType to be turned on at the logon prompt. If you want to change it, double click Font Smoothing Type, change its value to 2, and then choose OK. Now that we're done with the registry, we can go ahead and exit out. Now, as I mentioned earlier about the Prefetch and Superfetch, Superfetch also has another feature called ReadyBoost. Now, ReadyBoost can use any of the following: flash memory cards, such as compact flash, SD, smart media, secure digital, MMC, etc. You can also use those USB flash drives. All you need to do is insert one into either the card reader or the USB port, a box will come up, and if you look to the bottom of the box, it says speed up my system using Windows ReadyBoost. Click on that. The next box will come up. You want to choose use this device. Next, you have a slider. Windows gives you a recommendation as what to use. You don't necessarily have to use it. You can choose how much Windows can use, all the way down to its minimum or to its maximum. And Windows recommends how much to reserve for optimum performance. Now, the reason for this is because Windows can only use the fastest memory cells that's in the flash memory card. They're all mixed up, but Windows can only use the fastest. Once you choose that, choose Apply. Now once activated, it may take a few minutes. If you look at your card or your USB flash drive, you'll notice the lights are active, as well as the light for your hard drive is active. This means that the computer is transferring the information off the hard drive onto the flash memory card. This could take a couple of minutes or so, depending on how much memory the flash card is going to be used. Now you can click OK. The next thing we're going to do is improve the swap file or the paging file. To do this, we'll click Start, Control Panel, scroll down to System, and then you need to come over here to Advanced System Settings, choose Continue, and then go under Performance and choose Settings. Now go up here and choose the Advanced tab. Now currently under Virtual Memory, Page File allows Windows Vista or any other Windows to transfer idle programs out of the system memory onto the hard drive. This way, more memory is freed up for more intensive programs that require speed. Well, keep in mind that the page file has to be 1.5 times the size of the system memory that's physically installed. We need to change. Now, as you can see, this one is System Manage. It's not a very good idea to use because Vista has control over it. And what happens is Vista will automatically increase or decrease the size of the page file. And if it has to constantly do this, it can render the Vista slow. To speed things up, we are going to divide it between multiple hard drives. Now keep in mind, this only works if you have more or 2 or more SATA drives. This technique that I'm going to show you will not work on IDE or EIDE drives. They will not work on those drives. This will only work on SATA drives. Now, first thing we'll need to do is uncheck automatically manage page file. Now we can choose the drives. You have to have at least 2 or more physical hard drives. We'll choose C. Come down here. It'll show you the space available, which is 27 gigabytes. Down here you'll have the total paging file size for all drives. The minimum is 16. Windows is recommending 46, over 4.5 gigabytes. But if you look down below it, it says it's currently all located 3.3 gigabytes. Now, you would think if Vista was recommending something, you'd think it would have it all allocated. Wait. Nope. Don't feel bad. XP does the same thing. Now, we need to click Custom Size. The initial size is the minimum. We're going to use 4,500 and then 4,500 for the max, and then choose Set. This is the size that my computer has to have. Why? Because I have 3 gigabytes installed on my computer. 1.5 times is 4.5 gigabytes. So I've set at a fixed space, meaning Vista can't change it. Now, if you have more than one physical drive, then you can divide it between 2 physical drives. The reason for this is because SATA drives, multiple SATA drives can be accessed simultaneously, or they can be accessed all at the same time. You don't get that with IDE or EIDE drives at all. Their protocols are different. To divide them, we know that I need to have 4,500 megabytes. So if you divide that by 2, you figure about 22.5. So we'll put 22.5 for the initial size and the maximum size on C drive. We'll choose Set. Now I have 2 physical drives. This one is the secondary one, as I have noted as data. If you have an image on here, it says some sort of factory image or recovery, that's not a physical hard drive. Don't get those confused. Now we got my secondary drive selected. This is the space available on it. I'm going to choose Custom Size. And now I'm going to put the other half of 4,500. And then choose Set. Now, as you can tell, I have divided my total recommended virtual swap file. I divided it in half. I've got 22.5 2 1/4 on C drive, and I have 2 1/4 on D drive, totaling 4.5. Once you have that done, you can come down here to the bottom and choose OK. Now it will let you know that these changes will not take effect until the next time we restart the computer. Choose OK. Now go to the bottom here and choose Apply. And then choose OK. And then choose OK again. Now it will say you must restart the computer. Right now I'm going to do it later, and then once we get finished making all the changes, then we can go back and restart the computer. So choose Restart Later. Now we need to go back to Advanced System Settings. Choose Continue. Now we're going to go back under Settings, under Performance. Now visual effects is another way to help speed up Windows Vista. Windows Vista, along with Windows XP and I'm sure Windows 7, has more visual effects than Hollywood. I'm not kidding. I thought Windows XP was bad. Well, if you want to help speed up your computer, you may want to reduce your visual effects. To do this, you can choose one of two things. You can either choose Adjust for Best Performance, and what this does will disable all types of visual effects. Choose Apply. Give it a few seconds, and then it's going to look just like Windows Me. You can't tell it on here because I had the scheme set up different, so it's easier to see it on video. But when you try it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, if you want, you can also choose Custom. Custom allows you to select specific visual effects that you want. For example, if you want to animate controls and elements inside Windows, you can select that. You can go through the entire list and select which visual effects you do want. You can show thumbnails, like for picture albums. If you have a picture folder, you have pictures in there, you can have it show the thumbnails of the pictures that's in the folder. Or if you're looking in a picture folder, it will show thumbnails of the files. You can go through this whole thing, the whole list, to decide which ones you want to do. Some of them I can care less. Like, who cares if there's shadows under menus? I mean, whoop-de-doo. I can care less. Once you choose what you want to select, come down here and then choose Apply. Now it may take a few minutes or a couple of seconds for it to make changes. Once it's done, choose OK. And then choose OK again. Now we can exit out. Another thing that we can do is clean up the desktop. For every icon you see on this desktop requires memory usage. Now, I know that a lot of these icons you'll probably never use. To fix this, you can right click, choose New, and then choose a folder. And then you can name it Unused Icons. Then you can go around and select which ones you don't want on there. To select individual icons, press the Control key down and use your mouse to single click on each icon. Once you have them selected, right click a selected or a highlighted icon and choose Cut. Open up your Unused Icons folder you just created. Right click the background and choose Paste. Now the icons have been moved. Click the X in the top right hand corner and exit out. Now you don't have as much clutter on the desktop. Another thing you can do is you can also right click the background, choose View, and if you look to the bottom of the sub menu, it says Show Desktop Icons with a check mark. If you click that, the icons disappear, freeing up more memory. Now, all the programs you install will always be listed in the All Programs by clicking Start and then All Programs. You can see all the programs that has been installed on your computer. So you don't always have to use a desktop. They're just shortcuts basically. But if you decide, you can always right click the background again, choose View. You can choose the size of your icons that you want. You can have them automatically arranged, or you can have them aligned to a grid. But you can also have them reappear by showing the desktop icons. The final thing I'm going to show you that we can help is right click the background, choose Personalize, choose Display Settings. Now you want to choose a lower colors. You can choose either 16 or 32. The higher the colors, the more memory that is required. The resolution, also, the higher the resolution, the more memory that is required. So unless colors and resolution is a big thing, you can always reduce them. Once you do that, you choose Apply and then follow the prompt. Now if the screen gets garbled up, don't worry about it, because after a few seconds, if you don't respond, it will revert back to the previous settings. Once you find the settings you want, then you get done, you can choose OK. And now we can exit out. Well, that is the end of this video to speed up Windows Vista. If you like this video, be sure you check out our other videos at www.for esrepair.com. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. Thank you for watching.